Hello, 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 my fellow Texas teachers friends. Today we are going to do project number 5 as promised. And as you already know, there's a link in the Google Drive for the exemplar to use if you would like. And we're just going to walk through basically how to do it and how you would pass it on the first time. Remember, in project number 5, there is going to be 2 lesson plans as if there were on in number 4. However, in project number 5, now it's going to be just a little different. You can still use the same thing that you used in project number 4, but bring it into number 5. But now you're going to be adding on accommodations, and you're going to be asking questions. The most important part is make sure you ask your 6 questions, and also in the accommodations, make sure you are specific to the person, okay? And then I'll show you some little tools you can use as well from the TEKS, from the state. You can reference as accommodations, and also there's also tons of accommodations which you can look at and just find which one would actually work for your student. Okay, so there's tons to choose from. So we're going to go to the project there. We're going to walk through it, and again, I'll have the exemplar from the one that I did in my Google Drive, so you'll see that in the description section. All right, so here we go. There we go. Let's just make this a little bigger so you all can see it as well. Okay, so here we go, number 5. And so again, I use the same TEKS from project 4, right? Everything here is the same. My material setting, same from project 4. My material setting, I just make sure everything it has, so all that is the same. Okay, I have the keywords, the main ideas, things of this nature. So here, you're gonna put whatever your keywords are. So the keywords: main idea, intended audience, interpretation, because they're going to be taking notes, note taking. So I'm also going to use some academic language. The academic language that I'm using is summarize, predict, analyze, tone, body language. Those are those things. You can put whatever relates to your TEKS. That's what you're going to put. Make sure you have there, but you should already have this from lesson 4. Okay, so here we go. In the focuses and activities, I basically start off by saying the students will begin the lesson with a group conversation, and I will ask the students about a time, because I'm recalling their memory. I will ask students about a time when they were misunderstood due to a lack of communication with the party they were communicating with. From there, I will ask the student how it made them feel when a person did not listen to them to explain something, right? So that's one of the questions I'm answering. And in this assignment, you have to ask 6 formative questions. That's it, 6 formative questions, and I highlight them in green. Okay, so let's just write this out in your own words. All right, so from there, the students will respond accordingly. From there, we will watch a cartoon film as seen here, and then I put the little film that I would have them watch accordingly off YouTube, and it's basically it's a real cute little film about this man and this woman, and I'll show it to you. I ain't gonna show you the whole thing, so I don't want to get copyrighted on it, but I'll show you this. We'll click on it there. And so this is the film that I said that I would show the kids,
for just
right?
$67.
Oh,
you can make as many videos as you want.
Hold on. Do this. We ain't gonna get nobody no free promotion. So this is the thing. Is called Shack Attack. This is the video that I would use, and basically in the video, she had bought some cookies, right? And so, well, the lady had ended up buying some cookies, and when she went to go sit back next to this young dude, hold on, let me go here. She was like, instead of her communicating with this dude, she's only using her body and saying, this, that, and the third. And this guy's like, why is she tripping? But at the end of the day, when she get on the thing, she realized something, right? She goes and she looks in her purse. I'm trying to find it where she like, oh my God, I made myself look like a complete dummy. Let me find it. Anyway, y'all can go watch it, right? So she looks in her purse. She realized that, oh my God, those was his cookies. Them weren't my cookies. And she felt so bad. And she wished she could have gone and talked to the dude. And the guy was like, he was sharing the cookies with the lady. So anyway, this would be a short film I would show the kids and all that. So I went into that, and I said I would ask the students what would have been a better way for the older lady could have talked to the young man in a different way, where she actually could have verbalized what she was saying versus just using her body language and stuff like that, right? And then of course I would you do your connection to the real world. So I did this by say, scholars, speaking with others with kindness and respect is a skill that you are going to take with you for the rest of your life. Effective conversations can open or close doors of opportunities for you. While looking at the short film, we observe how body language was used to communicate with the older lady and the younger man, which also teaches us a valuable lesson on effective communication between people with generational differences. If you ever heard the expression, is not what you said, is what you did. Well, that expression is rooted in a thought. In conversations, we may say something, but our body language may speak something else. This is what we would describe as misunderstanding. And I go into all that stuff. So here we go. We have the objective statement, same thing. For the purpose of learning, being able to communicate, being able to have a communication skill will be a skill set that you're going to take with you for the rest of your life, from the academic setting to a business setting, allowing those whose values may or may not align with you the opportunity to speak, and being able to listen is a skill that you will learn now that you will take you very far in life. These are language skills that you use every day, right? And so of course, just like in lesson 4, step by step, I'm going to start off with whatever I'm going to start off to. And so I do everything step by step, and then I go through within some of my things, and then of course there's another question, okay, there's another question, there's another question. All right, so in my instructional steps, that's where the majority of my questions come from, so I got those out the way. Now of course, whatever literacy strategies you use, reading, discussion, questions aloud, vocabulary, review working with partners, silent reading and writing, the use of technologies. Students will use their Chromebooks to fill out their handouts on their Google Drive. All right. So right here, this is different because it's asking us the differential skills. So this one is telling you, read what it's asking you. So it says includes differentiation in content or process from the following groups: ELLs, regular education students who are struggling, possibly some special education students, and gifted and talent. So when you think about differentiation, I want you to think of your classroom, but think of your classroom as this could help all students, regardless if they're ELLs, regular education, special, regular ed, struggling regular ed, special education, gifted and talented, right? Because if we use strategies, obviously that helps ELLs and special education and GT students and our regular students or our struggling students, and we use that across the board, right? It's beneficial to all students. Okay, so as a special education teacher, I know that's how I look at things, is that the assistants and all that, yes, the students have things that are specialized to them, but even those specialized things can be used with all students because it can help all students. Most of our classes are inclusion and everything, unless we're dealing with like behavior students or extreme autistic kids, things of that nature. So those are more exclusive classrooms. But in general, majority of us, we're going to be dealing with a lot of students who have inclusion, and they're included in the general education settings. So the things that you use, sentence stems can be used with ELL, SPED, gifted and talented, regular, people who struggle regular without any IEPs. Sentence stems can be used across the board. So it gives everybody an opportunity to have the same access to the education across. So it needs to be used across the board. So if your differentiation methods can be used across the board, I promise you're going to be good, even in a classroom setting. I know because I've been in a classroom. So here you go. Teacher provided questions. I said, I'm going to use teacher provided questions. That my teacher provided questions covers my ELL, regular ed, struggling ed, SPED, and GT. It covers everybody. Okay, helps all students, even general education. And I wrote that down. Tiering assignments, right? I can tier. It's not necessary, but I can tier assignments for the whole class, right? I tier assignments, and it's going to cover my ELLs, regular, my struggle, my special education, and the gifted and talented. Because by tiering assignments, what I did was I give the opportunity for the kids to pick a book on their level and their interests, right? A gifted and talented student ain't gonna pick something that they don't like. A ELL ain't gonna pick something that they have no interest in. So there's an approved thing. I would know all my kids' levels, and then I'll put books in there in the approved book box and say, hey, go choose your choice, right? So it's very level. So even if an ELL choose a GT book, okay, well that was their interest. Is that what they wanted to do? And I still tiered the assignment. It's grade level, on point, and it gives everybody it is still equal for everybody. So in your differentiation methods, just make sure that whatever differentiation methods that you choose, that they're equal across the board. All right. Now this right here is a differentiation of assessments, right? And so I said each student, regardless of current academic levels, are able to pick a book that they would like based off personal interest. Everyone comes from different background. Responses from each student they interview will be different. This also provides the students with the opportunity to get to know students from diverse experience. Sentence stems are provided in both conversation with partner and reflection paper, so any students will be able to reference the question regardless of skill level. I will continue to walk around the class. If I observe any student who is having difficulty starting the assignment, I will help the student individually. So one of the things you have is formal, informal, and all that, right? And anyway, you have to be able to show that you can assess the student, right? And I did it. One of the assessment would be observation by the teacher, which allows you to walk around the class. And so while you're walking around the class, you're listening, you're observing, you can see who needs help individually. So those who do need help individually, you can stop and just help them get on task and everything. You do that discreetly. You're not embarrassing them, and you're still assessing, and that is a part of data-driven type of assessment. All right. So this one right here, this is the most. This one I got dinged on because at first I just wrote out some accommodations and all this stuff, and they was like, well, you didn't specify, so I had to return mine in. And when I returned mine in, I made sure I specified Angelo's accommodations. So this right here, this modification and accommodations, and it says create at least 2 modifications and 2 accommodations that address the students' diverse needs of students Angelo, Nancy, and Corrine. And in the thing, it gives you their situations. Let me come over here to Texas teachers, and if you I can't see what they said, I can't whatever, you can always go into courses and the stuff that you've taken. You can always go back. find it. I don't even remember mine's at. 1 second. I just went back to it when it went down. Because you know when it goes down, I don't even care. I don't even care. But let's look at their, there we go here. Alright. Let's go to the complete. Here we go. Okay, here we go. So the class includes the following students. All right. So here is Angelo. Angelo is a student with special needs. He has a learning disability and is slow to process information. He is usually happy and helpful. So he is slow to process information. Okay. That's his thing, and that's where you can kind of look up, some accommodations for people who has processing issues, so slow processing. All right. Nancy recently moved to Korea. She's is well educated. So in her native language, the girl is a beast, but she just don't know English yet. Okay, so that's her disability. She has a limited knowledge of English. Okay, so it says she's at the beginning levels of speaking and writing, but intermediate for listening and reading. Okay, then we have Kareem. Now Kareem, she's a GT student. However, she was suspended 3 times, so she has behavioral problems. And last year for fighting in class, she is happy, easygoing, but can quickly escalate if she feels disrespected. So the girl is smart, just have behavioral issues. Okay. So now we know those situations. We have to address those in the modifications and accommodations. So with Angelo, with his accommodations, I said we're going to provide a self-monitoring checklist. By providing a self-monitoring checklist, Angelo is able to check off his progress as he progresses during the assignment, and also using speech to text for word processes. This allows Angelo to speak words into text to speech to assist him in writing his paper, because he might get discouraged, like, oh, I can't do this. But if he could just speak it, stuff like that, that'll make it easy, right? And for his modification, I have oral administration of paper assignments. So reading to Angelo aloud the questions of the assignment. This will help Angelo to process what the expectations is on the assignments. This one was provide additional time on assignments. During the assignments, we will allow Angelo extra time to interview his partner. If he needs extra time to complete his worksheet, the extra time will be provided for Angelo to complete. So I gave the accommodation and also how it applies in the situation. You're going to do that with all of them. Nancy's accommodations, you give the accommodations, how it applies to the situation, and how it applies to your assignment, and you do that. Okay. And the same thing with Kareem. In Kareem, I provide her frequent breaks. We don't want her getting frustrated. We want her to say, hey Kareem, go ahead and take a break real quick, go get you some water or something, go take a bathroom break, whatever. Because we don't want you to get frustrated. We don't want you to be like, oh, they talking too slow, they taking too long. So we provide her with the opportunity to take breaks. Since I think that I got 9th grade here, English 1. We don't call them brain breaks. We just say, girl, go take a break. Go get you some water, or whatever. And also providing a variety of level books in the library. This also gives Kareem the opportunity to pick the book on her level. So she's like, why you give me this baby book? No, girl, you chose that book, so she won't be mad. And then of course creating tiered assignments, and allowing her to work at her own pace. Okay. And so obviously you have your closure, and then you're going to just come down here. It's going to ask you your questions, and you're going to write your reflection. So this is your reflection, what you want. Explain the requirements. The pre-requires a skilled student needs to be successful in this lesson. Explain, the 3 questions that you ask, answer it. Make sure when you answer your questions, they're basically research-based. All right. So finding accommodations and things of that nature. Who's like, girl, I don't know nothing about this special ed stuff due to this accommodation stuff. So we seen let me see, Texas accommodations, right? All right, so here we go. TEA.org, on the TEA.org, it has the 2021 accommodations resource. Okay, So on the accommodations resource, this one has been archived, but they have all types of stuff: basic transcribing, calculation aid, content and language supports. All of these are here. All right. So remember, especially for you all who are in special education as myself, is that when you are doing these, this is just something to remember. They don't necessarily tell you this in Texas Teachers, but you want to make sure that the same accommodations that the students are using in class are going to be the same accommodations that they're actually able to use on the STAR. Okay, so you do have some accommodations that students cannot use on the STAR, and accommodations that they can use on the STAR. When you are assigning accommodations, and you can't just assign accommodations, obviously that requires an art, but when you're in your art meeting and you're developing you're developing the accommodations, you're developing the objective goals and all that good stuff like that. But I'll talk about arts and all that in another video. Call me the art queen, okay? But anyway, when you're building your accommodations, these accommodations are going to be used again in classroom and on STAR, because if a student can use the same accommodations in the classroom, they're going to actively use their accommodations on STAR, which they have to use themselves and they can't be prompted. But if they're using it all year, they're going to be like, hey, where's my timer? Where's my this? Where's my that? Right? Because they've been using it all year as well. So that's something just to remember when it comes to accommodations and things of that nature like that, right? So when it even comes to like accessibility issues, assessment, and all that, you can go through all of this stuff, and you can actually find some accommodations. Okay, you're able to find what can be used, what can't be used, all that good stuff like that. You can find all that stuff, but you can also do a Google search and just put accommodations, ACOMMODAT, for processing, right? And there is some accommodations for slow processing speed, right? And here goes some, and there's actually some good ones on here. You can actually just do a Google search for the situation. So if it's accommodations for slow processing, accommodations for ELLs, you're gonna get here goes some right here, but that's on study.com. So here go a government one. And most of these accommodations are across the board, state by state. So you can look through this stuff, find some that would actually work for you, and just make sure you go to the TA and make sure that they can use them both, because as long as you can use them both, especially on assessments and stuff, you're gonna be fine. Okay, and you can always Google. I'm just telling you, you can just always Google. But again, always use the TEA. They are definitely like a good resource and everything. And there's just tons. And you can just put Texas accommodations. Texas accommodations, right? And of course, here we go, IEP and goals accommodations. Oh, this is one that's good too. So I mean, you probably don't want to go through the whole this whole shebang bang, but if you go through some of it, it'll basically let you know, hey, is it measurable? Is it this? Is it that? You got instructional accommodations, and again, testing. Remember, I told you that you got two types of accommodations. So you got the ones that you can use in the classroom, and then you got the ones you can use on a test. So they just have all types of stuff that's a lot. So use your TA website, use Google to kind of find the accommodations and things of that nature that you're going to be working for. And you can use my exemplar. Actually, it went through, let's go, it's in there. So it's in my Google Drive, and the thing is in there. So as promised, guys, I told you guys that I would do number 5 for you, and once we get project number 6 back and done, I will post that. Have a blessed one.